Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the Think and Grow Rich Mindset Ministry Mastermind. I'm Amber DeBevick, coming to you live from Key West, Florida. I'm your mindset ministress of the dark and of the light and dark. I have my witch in the background. She's on this side. Everybody always wonders why I have a witch. She's my icon. I don't know. I love the Wicked Witch of the West. She's just misunderstood. She wasn't evil. And you guys are watching the Mindset Ministry Mastermind. We are entrepreneurs that are studying the principles of success as taught by Napoleon Hill. We study out of a special workbook that we have that we take our time over because we're very, very serious practitioners of mindset. And when you're in the world of being an entrepreneur, or if you have a home-based business, or even if you have a brick and mortar business, you want to be successful, and you want to be successful in every area of your life. And that includes, relationships, it includes your work, it includes your family, every aspect of our lives we want to be successful in. And it all starts right here, okay? If we have the mindset, and if we can train our minds to be in a positive attitude at all times possible, and it's basically getting possession of our minds, not being a slave or a prisoner to our thoughts. So that's what we study here, and it's really the first step, in being an entrepreneur or being successful, is getting that mindset. That's 80% of what it takes to be successful as an entrepreneur. Okay, I'm sure you've heard that before. So we have a great panel here today. I just want to run through the panel real quick and let everybody introduce themselves, or I'll probably introduce you and you can just say hi. So we have Aaron Riggs.
Hi, everybody. How are you doing?
Daniel Hughes.
Morning, everybody. Glad to be here.
Super cool. Daniel McCall.
What's up?
Markel Thompson.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning.
Cool. We have Pam Cavallero.
Good morning, everyone. Glad to be here.
Awesome. And Zabelina Vargas.
Hello, everybody. Nice to meet you. Thank you for having me here.
Cool. I'm so glad you guys are here. Well, we're streaming live, and we also record this for a playback. So if you want to share it with everybody that that needs mindset training, we are encouraging you to do that. This is value that we're putting on for you guys. So feel free to watch it as much as you want. Go back to all the different previous weeks. Catch up on all of the principles of success because they're cumulative. They all fall together, so that combining in one big success cloud of thunder. All right, so we're going to start our reading, and Markel is going to do the screen share and read for us.
Can y'all see that?
Yep, perfect.
All right, cool. All achievement begins as a thought and ends in a labor of love. With a positive mental attitude, a basic motive, and accurate thinking, work becomes a pleasure, not a burden or a hardship. Therefore, it is important that you build your definite major purpose on as many of the 10 basic motives as possible, so that your goals may become obsessional and thus easily and pleasantly pursued through action. Much of what you have just read comes from views of one of the greatest industrialists this nation has ever produced. Andrew Carnegie was not only a great industrialist, but a philosopher and an able psychologist, distinguished throughout the world as a man who had a keen insight into the character of women and men. He was also a great philanthropist. He provided that the major portion of this material riches be given back to the people of America in ways designed to profit the greatest number. The Carnegie Libraries, for example, are a result of this philanthropy. We are now stressing the interrelatedness of 5 basic principles. 1, definite major purpose. 2, the Mastermind Alliance. 3, self-discipline. 4, promptness of decision followed by action based on personal initiative. 5, positive mental attitude. Principle 11 will reveal to you the method by which all of these traits may be attained. It would be no exaggeration to say that the mastery of the next principle will place you well along on the road that leads to success. Controlled attention is an essential for the attainment of the 12 riches of life. Once you have mastered the principle of controlled attention and learned to live by it, be prepared for great changes in your character, your habits of thought, and your economic status. The changes are sure to come to you just as they have to many other students of this system of self-management. Through the application of the 17 principles, students have found opulence, peace of mind, and harmony in human relationships. Next to life itself, the greatest miracle known to humanity is the miracle of thought. No small part of this miracle consists in the amazing simplicity with which so complicated a mechanism as the brain can be operated by the willpower. An engineer thinks, places a few lines and curves on a piece of paper, and miracle of miracles. A bridge begins to span a great river. An unknown, humble mechanic thinks, makes a few crude drawings on a piece of paper, dresses an old buggy with a few mechanical parts made to fit those crude drawings which originated in his mind, and the world has seen the birth of the greatest automobile age. This was Henry Ford. A young, unknown inventor thinks, transfers his thought to a piece of paper, then assembles them through the simple mechanism of a piece of coiled wire inserted into a bottle, pumps out the air and seals the bottle, applies electric energy to the material, and the world has seen the birth of the great electrical age. This was Thomas Edison. A young Isaac Newton saw an apple fall from a tree, switched on the power of his thought through his imagination, and wondered why the apple did not fall upward toward the sky instead of to the ground. From the boundless scope of infinite intelligence came the answer, and with the discovery of the law of gravity and the science known as Newtonian physics. A young telegraph operator sat with his hand on a telegraph key, sending orders to a railroad train crew. Closed the key and turned on the power of his mind. Through his imagination, he saw a new railroad system extending from the east to the west, and a great transcontinental railroad system was born. That railroad was born, brought forth, and created in a few seconds in the mind of one man. But those few seconds of organized thought were more important and valuable than all the money and all the manual labor that went into the building of the railroad. Without the thought, there would have been no railroad. This was James J. Hill. A young clergyman turned on the power of his thought, wrote his thoughts down on a piece of paper, read the paper to his congregation, and out of his audience a man came forward in response to the inspiration of that sermon and gave the clergyman a check for $1 million with which to put into practical use the thoughts he had written on that piece of paper. The thought and the expression of it combined required not more than an hour of time. But that hour of organized thinking gave America one of the greatest institutions of learning, the Illinois Institute of Technology of Chicago, Illinois. A young man stood in line of people waiting to serve himself in the cafeteria. While he was filling his tray with food, he was filling his mind with thoughts. By the time he had received his check, only a few minutes at the most, he had converted his thoughts into an idea which earned him $4 million within a relatively short time. The idea was very simple. It consisted of borrowing the self-help cafeteria plan for use in a grocery store, to which he gave the name Piggly Wiggly. The entire thinking operation involved required not more than 4 minutes of time initially. But when these thoughts were put into action, they paid off at a tremendous rate. A young salesman in a hardware store stood looking at a collection of odds and ends of merchandise which had been in stock a long time and were not selling. How can a market be created for these out-of-date odds and ends, he wondered. He put the question to his own mind, and in a few minutes the answer came. He would throw the entire lot of merchandise on a bargain table, offer the items at a dime each, and see what happened. That which happened amazed the whole world of retail merchandising. Out of that simple idea grew the F.W. Woolworth 5 and 10 cent store system, which earned for the man who created it more than $100 million. The time devoted to organized thinking was not more than 10 minutes, but the thoughts conceived in those minutes when put into action yielded a tremendous profit. The strangest part of all of these illustrations is that although they are well known to almost everyone, few people seem to recognize the nature of the miracle by which these achievements were wrought. Ask the first dozen people you meet about any of the individuals who worked these miracles, and they probably will suggest that these successful people were blessed with some form of genius not possessed by the average person, or that their good fortune was due to chance. Not so. And that is it for the chapter. Every person who achieves any form of enduring success above mediocrity must learn the art of thinking accurately.
Cool. Thanks, Markel.
No problem.
All right. Might go back and read just a little bit previous after we're done with this first section here, just so that our people that are joining us this week can get a little bit more of the information out of the chapter. But let's see here. Okay. So I just want to go over what he said at the beginning. It was talking about to build our definite major purpose around the 10 basic motives. So Napoleon Hill came up with 10 motives that drive our desire, kind of, because I don't know about you guys, but for me, coming up with my definite major purpose, has been challenging up until now. And, I realize now that it's driven on emotions. And that's what the 10 basic motives are. So I'm going to read you what they are. So it's the emotion of love, the emotion of fear, the emotion of sex, the emotion of anger, the emotion of hate, the desire for recognition and self-expression. Maybe if you're an artist, it seems like that would kind of fall into that category. The desire for material gain, kind of like that one. Desire of self-preservation, the desire for life after death, that's a little far-fetched, desire for freedom of body and mind. I like that one. So maybe let's see what resonates with you guys. So we're basically, trying to build our definite major purpose, and we are into the accurate thinking, and we're going to read a little bit more about that in a few minutes, but I want to hear what you guys got out of that. So who would like to go first? Or I'll just go down the row. Oh, there we go. Zabelina, cool. We'll start with you and we'll work down.
Hi guys. I just have a quick story. I unschool my kids, right? But it doesn't mean that I do not educate them. They do read out of these books, and my son was reading out of the Think and Grow Rich book, and he's 14 years old. And what he was reading about, just sitting down and really writing down your ideas, how one little idea could be $1 million idea. So my son comes to me and he says, "Mom, I wanna make money." And I was like, "Okay." So I told him, "All right, son, just go ahead and write down every single idea that you have. Go upstairs, turn on some meditation music, and just focus." And he did. He did that for days and days and days on end. And then finally he comes to me and he says, "You know what, Mom? I finally got an idea." And I said, "What's that idea?" And he says, "I wrote it down and everything." I said, "Go ahead and tell me, son." He says, "I am going to be a motivational speaker for teenagers." And I said, "Get the heck out of here." He's like, "Yep, that's exactly what I'm going to do." He's 14 years old. He says, "I'm going to read all these books, I'm going to take notes, and I'm going to make videos just like you and your friends do online. And I'm going to brand myself and everything." I said, "Wow, that's amazing." So, I really like what, let me see here, what's his name? Markel. Yeah, I love what the book says, and that's how I can resonate with the book, with that particular part of the book.
Awesome. That's great about your son, Zabelina. Robert Kiyosaki has the game Cash Flow. Is it Cash Flow Quadrant? No, that's the book. What's the Cash Flow? The board game. He has Cash Flow for teenagers too.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, I was actually thinking about getting that for my kids.
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna get it. But that's great that he wants to do that. Oh my God, you got to keep us posted. Maybe he wants to come on the hangout here.
Wow, imagine. Definitely. Thank you. You see there, a door's open. Thanks.
So great for him and for us. So cool. All right. Let's go to Pam, since she's right next to you in my screen. Hi, Pam.
Good morning. When I first started in the industry, I was listening to the Think and Grow Rich call every morning, and they were talking about having to put into perspective of your why. And when I started, I was thinking about it, and I said, well, I really know what my why was, and it's my children. And it really helped. And they always say, if you don't know, or if your why doesn't make you cry, then it's not big enough. And so I put that into perspective and started from that point and worked forward on my major definite purpose. So that's really helpful in any industry that you're in. If you know your why and it's big enough to make you cry, then you're going to do it. You're going to have the success. And it's really an honor to be here this morning. I'm a little nervous because this is my first go-around, so hope y'all can bear with that. but yeah, it's powerful.
Awesome, Pam. You don't seem nervous, so you look great, and we're so glad you're here with us. And it's just all about, kind of just getting out there and being on a hangout too. Some people are nervous about it, but it's good for us to push through any fears about stuff like this, because for me, I suffered from the fear of criticism, which is one of the big, is it 10 basic fears? No, 6 basic fears from Napoleon Hill. And one of them is fear of criticism. And when we succumb to fear of criticism, it just holds us back from being able to move forward in our lives, in our businesses. It's so detrimental. I posted about it last week, and so congratulations on being here and just pushing through. So I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah, great. All right, Markel, are you ready? Did you get to take some notes while you were reading?
Not at all. But I got mental notes though, so I should be good. One of the things that I like about this book is it basically shows you how ideas create realities. Like all of those little illustrations that I was reading, it was basically like how the apple fell down and he discovered the law of gravity, or how 4 seconds he discovered a whole new railroad system and things like that. So thoughts are things, right? That's why I put that right there at the bottom of my name, right? The thoughts are things, so you really have to govern what you think about. And this chapter is all based on accurate thinking. I was at first, when I first got started online, I'm like, accurate thinking, right? So is there a wrong way to think? It really is. You either creating a good future, or you holding yourself back and repeating the same thing that you always went through and you always went through. So for me, when I first really started applying these principles, that's when I started seeing a change, because reading is not enough. Listening to the audios and watching the videos is not enough. It's only when you apply it, it's when you're starting to see the change, So when you don't see that change, first of all, in the first place, or the first time you start trying to do it, you got to know, it takes 30 days to break a habit or make a new habit. So when you start replacing those old thoughts with new thoughts, you probably have to keep doing it and keep practicing, because you will never get it right on the first time. You have to keep going and persevere and persist through all of the things that you go through. Because even to this day, I have little thoughts that come up in my mind that I could either keep on going on, or I could just replace that with a positive thought. And when you become conscious of it, you know what to do at that point. So that's what I got out of it. Thank you.
Thanks, Markel. Excellent stuff. Appreciate it. I'm going to keep moving along here so that we stay on schedule. Daniel McCall. We got 2 Daniels now.
All right, cool. Yeah, awesome. Yeah, I'm just over here taking notes too. I was just writing something there. Very happy to be here. I missed you guys last week. I just wrote something down actually when Pam was talking. Actually, I probably shared it on Facebook. It's not exactly what Pam said, but I think it's really powerful, because Amber, you were talking about in the beginning too, sometimes it's hard to formulate our major definite purpose, and and Pam was talking about if your why doesn't make you cry, then it's not big enough, and so I wrote down here, if your why, if your why makes you cry, it's easier to formulate your major definite purpose. Mm-hmm. So a lot of people try to come up with their major definite purpose and they don't know, and they're struggling with it. I think that's really good and powerful. So I'm gonna that'll probably be one of my cool posts for the day on Facebook or whatever. But Yeah, I love this chapter. It's great. Um, they were talking about controlled attention and accurate thinking, and it's this stuff is all a full circle. I really love that story how the kid or how the guy had the 10 cent table or whatever to turn into a couple $100,000 or $100,000 what was it, 100,000 or was it $100 million profit? I forget what he said, but it's kind of like the modern day dollar store, just being creative, using creative thinking, and but I'm not sure if I want to talk about this particular thing. But I'm just gonna keep it right there. I'm just gonna keep it right there. You guys can come back to me after the next reading. Thanks.
Now I really want to hear what it is.
Yeah, well, no, all right. I'll just get it's funny when you guys talk about controlled attention. I mean, it's a different chapter in the book. It just reminds me of sexual transmutation, because that's like something that I've been working on lately. Like just controlling that sexual energy, and that's not in this chapter, but that's part of like Think and Grow Rich too. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, I'll talk about it later. Let's go ahead and move on to the next person.
That's funny. Yeah, controlled attention is next week. Sorry, my dog's barking. But also, I was listening to the sex transmutation because I've got the Audible book for the new Think and Grow Rich for Women, by Sharon Lechter. So she redid, she actually co-authored all of the Robert Kiyosaki books, 14 of them. So she rewrote Think and Grow Rich for a woman's perspective. And so I was on that chapter yesterday, and it was it was much easier to relate to it the way she told it for women, because Think and Grow Rich was written in 1912, and it was so different, it was written for men. So I can finally kind of grasp the concept of it, whereas before I was like, what the hell,
Yeah, you know what? Here, I'll go ahead and tell you guys something about it real quick before. Yes. Last week I had to speak at an event. And I wanted to make sure I delivered my message the best that I possibly could, right? So I wanted to to control my attention. So that week I told my girl, I said, we're not going to have any any sexual activity or anything like that, and then I'm a drink. I like to drink socially too, and that brings our vibration down too. I mean, if you don't know that. It does. It brings your vibration down too. So I didn't drink or anything like that prior to the event too, because I wanted to make sure I had controlled attention. You know what I mean? Which really does relate to sexual transmutation too, because it's if you redirect that energy towards something, you can be so much more powerful with your message. I mean, it's just like professional athletes. They tell them none of that. None of that stuff before the game, because we want to make sure that you're your best. Because it's actually, I know this isn't the topic, so I don't want to dig into it too much, but it's actually the number 2 energy user there is. So the next day your vibration can be a lot lower. Like if you have to perform big task and whatnot, your vibration could be a lot lower. So your message could be like not even half of how powerful it really could be. So it's something that I work on. I work on making sure, like, if I'm doing something that's important, that I try to stay away from that, because I'm trying to be disciplined and trying to be the best me that I could possibly be when it counts. You know what I mean? So that's something that I do, and it definitely obviously takes discipline. I don't know about for women, but for men. For us men, it definitely does. So, but yeah, that's a powerful thing, and I'll just stop it right there for now, guys. But you guys understand what I'm saying, right? About harnessing your energy and being able to direct the. Just like I was saying, it's like the number two energy user there is that number 1 is actually eating too, and that's talked a lot about in Think and Grow Rich too. If you're eating a lot, your digestive system will wear you down too. So if you have anything important to do, like that, you're actually better off. You're actually better off coming on a hangout like this, or going to speak in front of a room, or if you have some particular sales calls you want to close. It's actually better to do it like on an empty stomach than it is to do on a full stomach. That's another really powerful thing, because that brings your vibration down too. So all right, guys, I'll stop right there. You can bring it back to me after the next reading. Thanks.
All right. Thanks, Daniel. I saw Daniel Hughes put his bowl of cereal down real quick. But I do want to just mention, I totally understand what you're talking about with public speaking. You know, when I did that, when I spoke a couple months ago with David Sharp, remember, I was really nervous, and I really had to pump myself up, you know, and doing stuff like redirecting your sexual energy, or jogging, listening to music, listening to audios, meditating, praying. You know, it's amazing what we do to up our game when something like that is, lurking in the near future. And I knew about that one for 4 months, and oh my gosh, that was mental acrobats for sure. I was glad when it was over, but I really prepared myself major, and that's exactly what you did too for your gig last week. I'm proud of you for getting up there and speaking. I would like to see it if there's a video of it. So all right, let's move on to Daniel Hughes in Chicago. Hey Daniel, welcome.
All right. I relate that passage to the personally for the law of attraction, and like ever since I started using that maybe a year or two ago, I didn't really become successful in anything I did until, you know, I had to change the mindset, you know, friends and family and everything, and the mindset was just so negative, you know. But once you started surrounding yourself with, you know, positive people and positive thoughts, and started turning those into actual actions, you started seeing actual results. Just like this hangout right now, it's all a panel of positive people, and anybody who's watching it. So in return, everybody's gonna succeed because it's just a positive vibe, you know, and that stuff is contagious. So and then closing, I'll just say your success level will never be higher than your belief level. You know, you actually have to believe in something. You know, you can only fake the funk for so long about anything or anybody. So, you know, as long as your belief level is there, you know, your success level will eventually catch up to it. So that's all I got.
Thanks, Daniel. Great. I'm so glad you're here with us today. I just wanted to mention one thing real quick on the subject of, excuse me, definite major purpose. You know, and in some of the things it's called major definite purpose, and some things, and Napoleon Hill mostly calls it definite major purpose, so it gets flipped around a couple times. And that's a minor detail, but some people might be distracted by that. There's my dog again, sorry. He sits in the window and barks at everything walking by. All right, so let's go to Aaron, and then I'll share my definite major purpose analogy. All right, Aaron.
All right, Amber, I guess this is going to be a tough one. I'm going to try and stay focused on the controlled, you know, think accurately and the controlled, but at the same time give a few examples of my actually last 2 weeks since I missed you last week. And I really, you know, the transmutation and the sexual energy, there's a couple of things I actually been through the last couple of weeks that are going to kind of focus on that. You know, and as far as like the athletes, I know that there has been different studies I've looked at to where, you know, having a good love-based sexual relationship can actually increase athletic performance, but that's neither here nor there. Basically, one of the things I've been working on this week is transmutation. I don't know if you can see the little picture here. It's a essential oil kit. I don't know if you know my background as a holistic person, but I have some great essential oil kits and have been studying this new book. Since Elvira's gone, I'm going to take the privilege and introduce a book. You know, this is about transmuting energy. This is, you know, Hands of Light, a guide to healing through the human energy field. So it really ties into this, you know, elevating your energy and focusing your energy, you know, being accurate about your thoughts, you know, on a more, I guess, a more spiritual or personal or physical health level, you know, basically through that transmutation. You know, I work a lot with people that I know relationships. They're having trouble with relationships. They're having, sexual issues or whatever. And, when you could transmute those energies into the pure love of, I'm here to help, which brings me to the second point, also related, which was brought up, the why, the definite major purpose. And, in business, your definite major purpose is obviously do good work, make good product. But for me, it's a little bit more. It's not just, oh, I want to be successful for my family, because I give all, to the most, to the ultimate source, or however you want to explain this Godhead figure, this ultimate knowledge. I give all props to that. I know, in a sense, I can't control someone else's destiny. So I had to think about that. What is my ultimate major purpose? And it became this transmutation of self, and to help other people, transmute into this being of light, this being of love, this being of consciousness that has, the power to think, the power to attract like minds, just amazing. And so on the third point I wanted to bring in, and this is pretty cool, the gentleman thought this up in his mind. It's a product. It's a new product for some of the wine industry we're having around here, wine problems. And he brought me in and said, hey, you know business, you know marketing. How are we going to get this product out to these people that need it? Well, I had to sit down with my marketing team and sit and think accurately, controlled attention. We had to put our thoughts, our controlled attention on how exactly are we going to break down this potential customer group of people, wine owners, basically farmers. How are we going to bring, the old adage goes, you got to sell dirt to a farmer. How do you do that? Well, now we're in the business of basically selling water to farmers, but the farmers are having, briny issues. But we had to really focus on our thoughts, really sit down and say, hey, how are we going to do this? And really it only took 20 minutes for us to figure out, we don't even have to, we call the realtors, get a couple things scientifically, target the group. We don't even have to work. Everyone we're going to talk to, we know has a need. We know that there's an investment loss that they already have. We know that we're the solution. So rather than just going out willy-nilly knocking doors, we sat down and controlled our attention. We focused our thought, and in a way transmuted this guy's idea, which is an awesome product, into an awesome opportunity for us to be basically the marketing executives for this new company. So I hope I tied it all into the topic, and hopefully the picture of the dolphin was good for everybody for the transmutating energy, and of course frankincense and myrrh, all the essential oils. Me and my snake oil, huh? All right, Amber, back to you, huh?
Okay, thank you. You're always very entertaining, and I learn something new about you every week. And you know what you were doing, though, with you and your partner, you guys were forming a mastermind alliance together, which is one of our principles of success. And then you guys were also practicing creative imagination. Creative imagination. That's when we cultivate ideas together, or even by ourselves. We're tuning into infinite intelligence, downloading ideas from the universe, really, through our subconscious mind. So that's exactly.
First off, highest, ultimate intelligence, the God being, the source energy, the source code, whatever you want to call it. Amber, that's one of the things this group has really helped me understand on a more technical side, because I've always had, I'm in touch with my spirit, I'm in touch with that, but by breaking down these principles in a step-by-step thing, it's just really, everyone here has just given me insight and their perspective to not just open up to feel it, but to understand it. It's awesome. I appreciate it.
Cool. Am I muted? No, I'm not. All right. Awesome. Thanks, Aaron. Hey, I want to go back and read a little bit. Markel, do you mind reading starting on page 72? Do you mind doing that? I know I'm springing it on you. I could do it too, but I would mind.
I got it.
Okay, cool.
I can do it.
Yeah, let's read, 72, 73, because these guys missed out on it last week, and there's some good stuff in there. I'd like them to be able to get some Markel's going to take it to screen share, and we'll get some more of the juice of this principle for you
You
guys.
said page 72 and 73, right?
Yeah, that sounds good. Does that sound good to you? Okay.
Yeah.
It says if the circumstances of your life.
Okay, I got you.
Okay, cool.
Can y'all see that okay?
There we go, yeah.
All right. If the circumstances of your life are not to your liking, you may change them by changing your mental attitude to conform with the circumstances you desire. This will be brought about by the law of harmonious attraction, through which like attracts like in every circumstance of life. Andrew Carnegie had the following thoughts about accurate thinking. The first fact one must recognize to become an accurate thinker is the fact that the power with which one thinks is mental dynamite that can be organized and used constructively for the attainment of definite ends. But if not controlled and directed, it may become a mental explosive that will literally blast apart your hopes of achievement and lead to inevitable failure. Stating the matter another way, you should recognize that the power of thought probably is a projected portion of infinite intelligence. Every person has been given the privilege of appropriating and using this power for the attainment of ends of his or her own choice. The medium of appropriation and control consists in voluntary, controlled habits. You cannot control infinite intelligence, but you can control your own mental and physical habits. Thus, indirectly, you may appropriate and use infinite intelligence. Next, the active thinkers must learn how to avail themselves of reliable sources of information from which they will obtain dependable facts. Guesswork and hopeful wishing can never be relied upon to supplement accurate sources. Here is where the Mastermind Alliance becomes indispensable, as it enables you to supplement your own stock of knowledge with the knowledge, education, experience, and native ability of those with whom you have a mastermind alliance. If you choose your mastermind allies wisely, you may have at your command the most reliable sources of knowledge that education and experience have to offer. Organized thinking is the way to personal power, and an important factor is the organization of a mastermind alliance through which one may have the full benefit of the brains of others. There are certain emotions that lift one into this exalted feeling that we call spiritual power, such as the emotion of love and the emotion of faith. When your mind is stimulated by such exalted feeling, your imagination becomes more alert and your words take on more magnetic tone. Fear and self-imposed limitations disappear, and you dare to undertake tasks you would not think of beginning when your mind is stimulated only by the purely mental process of thinking. When asked his opinion of the person who acquires power through the principle of organized thinking, but who uses this power unfairly to gain advantages over others who are not skilled in the art of thinking, Mr. Carnegie replied, "An all-wise creator has provided for such a circumstance. People who use their mind power to damage or destroy others soon eliminate themselves. The creator has also very wisely provided that this type of power is something that cannot be passed on from one individual to another through physical heredity. It is a power that you must acquire for yourself by the strictest kind of self-discipline and a major definite purpose. Go back into history and examine the records of those who have undertaken to become world conquerors and observe what happened to them and their offspring. Alexander the Great, Genghis Khan, Napoleon Bonaparte, Adolf Hitler, and others with similar ambitions made great strides by the misuse of their power. But look what happened to them in their ambitious projects. Not one of them accomplished his purpose, nor did any of them pass on to their offspring or their followers any means by which their temporary gains could be maintained. They only passed on to those who followed a curse that wiped out all the gains they had made. Apply the principle anywhere you choose. at any period of civilization and observed that the effect always has been the same. Only the gains of those who use their mind power beneficially have been persevered. This principle still applies today in every walk of life, every business and profession, every industry, just as it did during ages past. Study the gains made by the Nazarene, for example, and observe that while they were infinitesimal during his life on earth, they have lived and spread down through 20 centuries of time until the influence of Christianity has become a recognized power throughout the world. Don't worry about people who use their mind power for the detriment of others, for they have fixed their own destiny by their own deeds. What goes around comes around, and the world will go marching on without having been permanently injured. The trend of civilization is upward, and through that line may fluctuate upward and downward at given periods. It always moves upward a little farther than it moves downward. Thus, on the whole, the internal plan is being carried out despite the deficiencies of individuals. The wise will recognize this truth, adapt to it, and make the most of it by serving in a way that will benefit their travelers. Practically, every judicial law is evidence of the need for a means of restraint of individuals who are antisocial. If everyone recognized and understood the law of nature, there would be no need for us to design additional laws. But force is not enough to bring us into an understanding of the laws of nature.
That's good. Yeah, we could stop there because we're right on schedule.
Okay.
Right. Thanks, Markel. So great stuff. It's funny how we just mentioned the Mastermind Alliance that we were talking about, Aaron. And also I liked how it was talking about, you know, people that did things for the wrong reasons. And in our self-confidence formula, you know, that comes after when we read the definite major purpose, there's also the self-confidence formula. And number, well, let's see, the fifth paragraph in the self-confidence formula, you know, I will eliminate hatred, envy, jealousy, selfishness, and cynicism by developing love for all humanity, because I know that a negative attitude towards others can never bring me success. And that's really important. And it's really funny, too. I was reading something in another book. I was in a mastermind last night, and in that book it talked about, you know, once we gain possession of our thoughts and our minds like we're doing here, we can achieve anything. And that's because we can visualize, you know, we have our definite major purpose, we get the vision of who we want to be and what we want to achieve. We have to have it very clear. But as long as it's based on spiritual principles, you know, it has to be based on universal laws of goodness, really. And if it's not going to last. That's basically what they were just saying. So anyways, I'm excited to hear what you guys have to share about where we're at right this minute. And let's go to Zevalina.
Thank you. I just wanted to share with you I would say probably about a year and a half ago, my husband and I mean, you know, our thoughts were very, very destructive. And you don't even realize this because you grow up, you know, being taught a certain way, and you develop these habits, and you don't even realize that you're doing these things. You have absolutely no control over your thoughts dominate you. So when we started to dive into personal development, started to read these books, you were saying, Amber, that you really you couldn't really figure out your definite major purpose. And we were lucky enough to find one from the person who does the Think and Grow Rich morning phone calls from Monday through Friday at 9 o'clock in the morning. So he has one on a PDF, and we just printed it out, and we said, hey, let's just do this one. So Oh, do you have it? I love it. I love it. So what we did is we tweaked it. Maybe you could leave, like the link there for the people who are watching. So we tweaked it according to our lives, right? So we started to read this. Hey, listen, I mean, we had absolutely no skills, and my husband had skills where he was working at, but our mindset was off, okay? And I had no skills when it came to the home-based industry, right? I had a lot of zeal, but really no skills. I couldn't control my own thoughts. I really was struggling with the thoughts of the fear and stuff and the criticism, just like you were saying, Amber. But we read this every single day. We were faithful to read our definite major purpose every single day. And it does have a lot of emotional trigger points in there. If you're trying to do creative visualization and you are not invoking your emotions, it's not going to work. You really need to invoke your emotions in order for things to work out, right? So your subconscious really needs to kind of pick up on the emotions. Now, we were reading, and it's been about maybe, I would say, a year and a half now, and we just stood faithful to the reading. And believe it or not, we have actually increased our income to over $130,000 per year. So just by reading this, you see, so mindset is extremely important, and I'm very grateful that you guys are focused on sharing this with other people. The formula is really not that difficult. Print that out and read it every single day. So that's pretty much what I have to say about that. Thank you, Amber. Back to you.
Thanks, Evelina. That's a really great point, and I don't know about everybody else, but sometimes I skip over that. I forget about, how important the emotions are. And I'm the kind of person that I don't really experience a lot of emotional range for some reason. And I'm not even on any medication. I just am pretty even, all the time. And I think that's a blessing, but it could also be a curse, because there's not a lot of emotional drive behind everything I do all the time. But I'm going to tell you this. When I know exactly the moment, I can see it in my mind when I close my eyes, of the moment that my definite major purpose kicked in. And I was sitting here at my other desk over here, and I was, he talks about the 10 basic motives. They're all emotions, really. And so I was so angry. So I had the emotion of anger. I had the emotion of fear because I was just so frustrated in my job. And financially, I felt trapped. I felt like I was just suffocating, and I was angry. And I also had the desire for material gain and the freedom. I had the desire for freedom of body and mind. I just felt really just constrained. And I can remember that moment, that right there. And that's when I picked up the phone. I got online. I signed on to my very first internet marketing program, or whatever you want to, call it, business. And I was just surrendered. I was like, I'm done with this. And I signed on, threw my credit card on there, went all in, got everything, all the products, and I've been, going ever since. And it's only been not even a year, really. But it was those emotions, and that being fed up with my job and wanting the freedom, that made me pull my credit card out and sign up, and it's changed my life, changed my life. I love it. So anyways, we'll move on to Pam. Hello.
Hey, I'm back. Going over this topic is really amazing to me, because I worked in the corporate world and had 19 years of insurance experience, and there's a lot of negative vibes within the corporate world, and I'm a pretty positive going person, and got laid off last year with a severance package, which was actually a blessing, which turned me over to working from home and getting on the morning mindset call. And I had never done any of that. It put me in a better, positive mental state, which I had myself, but with getting rid of all that negativity that I was surrounded by on a daily basis. And then realizing and understanding that I needed to create the major definite purpose, because I had no idea what that was up until probably April of last year. And once I started doing that on a daily basis, going over my major definite purpose, I really started seeing things progress rapidly. So it's very important that one does take into consideration and writes out that major definite purpose, because I had a lot of fear within me too, where I would go into a room and wouldn't say a word. I would just observe because I felt so uncomfortable. And I went to an event last year, and the amazing thing was is I came back, and we actually had driven to Denver, and on the way back I said to my husband Tony, I said, hey, I'm going to start creating videos. And I did a 90-day video challenge. They say get comfortable being uncomfortable, and I really did. And it's amazing what the mind can do, and once you work on your mindset, how far you can actually go. So that's kind of where I'm at right now, feeling great.
Yeah, thanks, Pam. That's, and we can't express it enough. I mean, that the mindset is like everything. And I mean, you look at people suffering from addiction, mental illness, depression, people that have drama going on in their lives all the time. It's all in here. 100% of it comes from in there. All right, maybe a little bit comes from genetics. But for the most part, everybody's just a prisoner of their own mind, So we're very blessed, and we have to have an open mind. That's another one of the principles. So we have to have an open mind to even be able to receive this information. So congratulations to everybody here and anybody watching this. It's a big step. So we're going to keep moving on here. We're doing great with time. We're right on schedule. And we'll go to Markel in Chicago.
Yeah. I just want to say, before I got into this material like a year ago myself, but before that year, of doing personal development seriously, I thought I always had control of my thoughts, and I thought I was the one controlling everything, but I realized that it was really my subconscious, those bad habits that I had formed throughout the years that led up to now, or then, I should say. But one of the lines that I like right now that I read was, if the circumstances of your life are not to your liking, you may change them by changing your mental attitude, And for me, I literally really had to create a whole nother environment, because like I'm in Chicago, Illinois, and it's not really a positive vibe anywhere throughout Chicago right now. So what I did was, I literally had to reconstruct my way of thinking, because I could have easily fell into the same category as a lot of people that are in my surroundings, that are in my environment. So what I did was, I had to literally reprogram myself, because like I said, I had no idea about accurate thinking not too long ago, and I realized that once you start thinking in a certain way and start doing things in a certain mental attitude, like a positive mental attitude, for example, that creates that expectation for something positive to happen. There's a lot of people that agree with the Murphy's Law, like whatever bad can happen will happen. But if you're expecting that to happen, then yeah, it will happen. So I had to get out of those old habits and all of these old sayings that I grew up with and beliefs that I grew up with, and really had to change it, because in this book, it seemed like it's just so easy to do until you actually start trying to do it, like controlling your thoughts and controlling your emotions like that. Yeah, when you're reading it, it sounds easy and it sounds all good, but when you actually applying it, everything else could go out the window. Like you read the book and then go outside into real life, and then you just forget all about it. Personal development is like a 365 job. It's 24/7, and no off days, no vacation. So you really have to be on top of that. Even when you're watching TV or listening to music, all of those things and everybody around you is literally programming you. It's all about a programming, right? So we condition ourselves a certain way. So you really have to be aware. Basically, it's just all about your awareness, being aware of what's going on and knowing how to shut off things and how to accept certain things, because the subconscious mind is going to just accept everything. So you got to be consciously aware of that and use your conscious mind to be able to accept or reject certain information. So it's been going well for me. My life really changed by me just changing my way of thinking. And I used to call it crazy, but it's not crazy at all. It's really amazing. So back to you, Em. I'm grateful to be here.
Thanks, Markel. I'm grateful for you. And you know how important it is for mindset. Let me just tell you, you guys, some of you guys on here don't know anything about me, but my story is that I was a hopeless drug addict for 23 years, and I've been in recovery for about 11 and a half years now, and it's been a road of mindset development. Believe it or not, there's just huge, huge, huge similarities when you start on this mindset path and recover. The recovery path are very similar, and gaining possession of our mind and of our thoughts. And I don't know if any of you guys have ever read Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill. It's a really great book that he put out, and his wife was embarrassed to put it out for 70 years. She kept it under lock and key, and they finally published it. And that book conquers mental illness, the disease of addiction, being the prisoner of our own mind. If anybody here is still, or anybody watching is suffering, from the dis-ease within your mind, the noise, just a constant chatter. It's like a monkey rattling a cage. Sometimes, our minds are just crazy. And the other book that helps with that too is Eckhart Tolle's The Power of Now. That's a great book to get control of your mind and to detach from the thoughts, because we have to realize the thoughts are not us. It's just that monkey in the cage, and there's a space between the thoughts where the universal mind lies, or a higher self, a higher power, infinite intelligence, and it creates a calmness in our minds, peace of mind. And that's what we're after here, and that's really the whole point of all of this. And I don't know, I just wanted to throw that out there. So let's go to Daniel McCall. Hello.
Hey, what's up? So, oh man, so much great stuff. It's hearing them talking about like what's his name? What's the guy's name? The Nazi guy?
Hitler.
Hitler, yeah, that's it. Thanks. A little lost for thoughts today. Yeah, hearing that, the story about Hitler and all them guys and how they're, how what happened to them, you know what I mean? What happened to them with their intentions? And it kind of reminds me of, of me talking, over the past weekend. I was talking about, having success in your business and making sure that your intentions are good, because if your intentions aren't good, they'll shine through, and eventually, it's not going to work out for you. You know what I mean? And love how you shared the the fifth step of the major definite purpose too, because that goes right along with that. It actually reminds me of my childhood. Growing up for me personally, I grew up in a pretty violent household with a lot of violence, and I grew up thinking violence. I grew up thinking of fighting was the answer, and it reminds me of a lot of times, growing up, I would remember, the different people that I would hang with, and it's pretty funny that every time that our intentions weren't good, like me and my homeboys, right? Every time our intentions weren't good, bad stuff would happen. Even if we would win the fight. Even if we get in a big fight or something like that, even if we win the fight, we'd end up hurting somebody so bad or something like that we would be in so much trouble that we would wish that we weren't in that fight. You know what I mean? So it's it's funny, everything. Whether it happens in a short period of time or a bigger period of time, it always comes back around full circle. Hitler took years for him to get his, but he did get his eventually. You know what I mean? So it's important that our intentions are good, because it's the law of the universe. I don't know how great everybody's faith is on here. I know we like to keep this generic, but faith keeps me faith keeps me solid. And being that monkey in the cage that you were talking about, sometimes bad things happen. I just want to come back out and be like that. Be that fighter again. I just want to handle things the wrong way sometimes for a second, and I'm like, oh man, and I have to keep myself around the right kind of people on a regular basis too, or else I can turn into the violent, crazy person that I was growing up myself. So it's very important to surround ourselves, with the right people. It's key. For me being here today, right here, right now, with all of you, it's just as beneficial for me to be here as it is for anybody to be here watching us, or any of you to be here on here too. I mean, this is my things like this fuel my fire. So I appreciate you having me on here, Amber. I appreciate you, and thanks everybody.
Thanks, Daniel. Well, we always have a love fest on here between all of us. No, I love you. No, I love you. We love each other. All right, Daniel Hughes. Hey, buddy.
Hey, what's going on? Hey, quick story. After doing 8 years in the military, I always say, it's finally time to start living my life. And by living my life, I meant that, I wasn't gonna get out and get a job, a job, which is, just over broke. I was going to live a just over broke lifestyle. So working from home has clearly been a blessing. And, I always say, nothing's worth doing it if you're not happy doing it. Nothing's worth it if you're not happy doing it. And that's with anything, any type of aspect in life. And they say, show me your friends and I'll show you your future. And I didn't realize that back in the day, but now I surround myself with, like-minded people who are not only positive, but, are going somewhere and, have your best interest at hand. And those people are definitely you guys on the panel and anybody that's watching right now. So, like I said, I would just surround yourself with positive, like-minded people and work hard, and, you really can't lose. And like I said, working from home has been a blessing, and I'm just glad I woke up, honestly. So.
Cool. We're glad you woke up too. We're glad you're here. Never mind. I won't say it. Wake. Okay. All right. Let's go to Aaron, who's inside with his sunglasses on. Yoo-hoo!
Yeah, my future's so bright, Amber. I was taking a lot of notes this discussion section, and like you're saying about your emotions. You stay in the middle, and that's kind of where, a lot of the self-help philosophies I've studied, both Napoleon Hill, all the self-help stuff I do, that's really important to be able to, even though a situation may be totally elation and it be a situation where, yeah, going off the manic side might be acceptable, you don't let yourself go there. You kind of experience it externally. You don't really internalize it. That's actually a real healthy thing, that keeps from when the lows hit low, you feel like it's all over. You're just like, okay, that's a situation that I'm going to have to get over with, which ties into my notes here. What Pam was saying, you kind of got to get comfortable being uncomfortable. There's going to be a lot of situations that are going to be difficult, and, attitude. Like Markel was saying, we get to choose our attitude. And I was actually working with a friend this week, how life outcomes is how your attitude, your mind, your thought, and there's a study that I look at, a luck study of all things, and they just did a study and they asked people, do you feel lucky? Do you feel unlucky? And they based, the test on that. The lucky people and the unlucky people were given a magazine to read with the exact same lucky winning, coupons in there. The lucky people found more. The people that felt they were lucky actually found those little lucky ads more often than the people that felt they were unlucky. Just on mindset and attitude. And Mr. Hughes, I want to, I really, what you said about, you're going to live life. You live life on your own terms, and of course, your definite major purpose. For me, it's always been to please the highest source, which always gives me everything. And when you start living life on your own terms and realizing that, yeah, I want a secure, happy family. I want to provide, the work that I do, I want it to be a benefit. I want to have an attitude and an intention of helpfulness. I have an intention of going out, yeah, I work, I want honest pay for honest work, good, work, but my intention is to benefit either an individual person or society, or to be a benefit, to please, to what I say, my highest purpose is to please God. My highest purpose is to tap into that ultimate source, which anytime I've ever needed anything in my life just rains it down on me. And so, that's kind of where it's at, and one of the things I always like to say is, hey, if I give one smile out today, it seems like there's 1,000 smiles that come back to me the rest of the day. So, I always try and plant that positive seed, that positive attitude, that positive thought, that positive action in, pretty much everything I do, whether it's a mindset meeting like this or, working with some people on, doing the healing modalities, the massage and the oil treatments, or whether it's, going out and selling water filters to the wineries. I want to do a good thing for the world, for society, and, that's all about my intention. And I think that if you have that positive intention, that'll carry you through to a positive attitude, which will carry you through to positive expectations, which will create positive results for you. That's just so basic. But yeah, you do that every day, and you have sunglasses in case you feel a little uncomfortable with the bright lights of the production room.
Thanks, Aaron. That's great.
You're welcome, Amber. Thank you so much for having me every week.
Yeah, you're a great asset to have here. So, yeah, I just wanted to wrap it up with a couple things. This book that we're studying from, I had got because I signed up for the training course through the Napoleon Hill Foundation, to be like a certified trainer maybe one day. And when I was looking at the course, the whole thing is about, they call it PMA, it sounds like PDA, but it's positive mental attitude. The whole entire Napoleon Hill course is revolved around acquiring a positive mental attitude. So we've mentioned that a lot today, and that's because it's so important, so important. It's just so hard to see people suffering, and it's all in the head, in our mind. It's so great to be free from that, And the one thing I wanted Markel to give you guys the number. Markel has a weekly call. It's very positive, it's interactive, and I want him to share the number with you guys that are here. So write this down, and if you're watching the Hangout, write it down. It's a weekly call, so even if you're watching this on the replay, you'll still be able to call in. So tell us about your call, Markel.
All right, the call is it's called Real Talk Tuesdays. I do it every Tuesday at 12 p.m. Central. I changed the time from 7 p.m. so I can reach more people. I know a lot of people be busy around 7 p.m. So I changed the time to 12 p.m. Central, and what I do on Real Talk Tuesdays is I just reach out to individuals for a certain topic that they would like me to discuss, and at the end of the call, I open up the calls for anybody that want to give their comments, their feedback, or their input, so we can keep going and keep growing as a community. And the number is 530-881-1300, and the access code is 726-410#. Every Tuesday at 12 p.m. Central.
Cool. Thanks, Markel. Yeah, I love that call. It's excellent. So everybody try to be there if you can. So I want to thank everybody that was on our panel today.
Hey, Markel, what is that Pacific time and Eastern time?
Pacific, that would be 10, and Eastern, that would be 1.
Yes, Aaron and your time warp. We know how you are. So anyway, we're gonna sign off here in just a second, but I want to thank everybody that was on the panel today. And if you're watching this Hangout on replay or you watched it live, just want you to see the people here. These are all leaders in the internet or network marketing world. Everybody represents a different company. We keep it generic on here because we're not here trying to sell ourselves, but if you're looking for a mentor to work with, whether it's in the mindset, whether it's in the business world, internet marketing, network marketing, any type of entrepreneurship, I'm really into mindset, everybody here is. So you got to see everybody here, everybody's names, everybody's on Facebook. If you just want to talk to somebody, I just suggest that you hit them up because these people are great and I know they can help you. And we'll be here next Saturday. Now, next Saturday, I will be in Virginia at a mansion and masterminding. So hopefully one of maybe Markel or Daniel will actually set up the hangout, and I'll just be a guest outside by the pool or something cool. And if you guys can join us again next week, we'll talk on Facebook, and we do have room for a couple more people on the panel. Actually, a couple of our regulars were off this week, so there's room for 10 here, though. And if we go over 10, we can take turns. I'm open to that. The more the merrier. So that's all for now, and make it a great weekend, guys. Bye.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Have a wonderful day. Bye now.